Hey guys, and welcome to our presentation on Jardines de la Reina, Cuban Reef Diversity, presented by Bianca Mesera, Daeli Hernandez Nunez, and Elizabeth Lopez. Jardines de la Reina is a beautiful region renowned for its pristine coral reefs and abundant marine life. The name translates to Gardens of the Queen, and the area is considered one of the healthiest and most well-preserved marine ecosystems in the Caribbean. If you're interested in Cuban reef diversity, Jardines de la Reina is worth exploring. Located in Cuba, it consists of a network of islands, cays, and coral reefs. The area is renowned for its pristine coral reefs, diverse marine life, and significant shark populations. Now here's a video showing you Jardines de la Reina.
50 miles off the south coast of Cuba is a long stretch of protected mangrove keys and coral reefs that is giving marine scientists hope for the future of our oceans. Called Los Jardines de la Reina, or Gardens of the Queen, it's a place that few people ever see. In May, the New York Times made the journey there with a group of scientists from the United States. Our guide was the Cuban marine biologist Fabian Pina Amargos.
This is a very special place because this is well protected since 1996. So it's the closest that we can get to a pristine environment. This is like a living laboratory where we can just try to understand the status of wild populations.
In the Gardens of the Queen, we entered a maze of mangrove channels, inhabited by hermit crabs, iguanas, and large rodents called hutia. They scampered up, eager for a drink of fresh water or a slice of mango.
Have you ever seen this many iguanas outside of Cuba?
Only in terrariums, but not in nature. This is pretty unusual. They sustain the healthiest populations because they're linked to the habitat, and the habitat is pretty pristine.
But the true garden was underwater. There were groves of rare elkhorn coral, teeming with colorful fish. Minutes away, we dove in again, and were surrounded by groupers and Caribbean reef sharks.
The Gardens of the Queen have 10 times more sharks and large fish than the surrounding waters. That even when the surrounding waters are very productive waters. And the only explanation for that is because of the protection for 20 years.
Utilícese toda la ciencia necesaria para el desarrollo sostenido sin contaminación. Páguese la deuda ecológica.
In the mid-1990s, after the speech decrying the planet's ecological destruction, Fidel Castro's government began a radical push to protect Cuba's coastal waters from overfishing.
10-15 years ago it was banned completely.
Today, the Gardens of the Queen is one of the largest marine reserves in the Caribbean. The only commercial fishing allowed here is for spiny lobster. And the mangroves provide a vast nursery for young fish.
Mangrove ecosystems have been pretty much eliminated in the Caribbean. Here you see everything at its biggest expression. You can really see how everything fits together, from the coast to the mangroves to the reefs.
Dr. Pina tracks the health and abundance of the garden's two peak predators, sharks and Goliath grouper.
In this spot we have seen 2 Goliath grouper in other expeditions.
Now, we did not see any Goliath groupers ourselves, but a Cuban diver working in the Gardens of the Queen shared this footage of them.
The Goliath grouper is critical endangered species, which means it's important from the ecological point of view, but also it's very important as a tourist attraction. It's a fish that can weigh like a small car. It's a huge animal everybody likes.
To study these large predators, Dr. Pina first has to catch and tag them. The process can be intense, but lasts only a few minutes.
Sharks have declined in many cases by 90% throughout the world, including in Cuba.
Female.
The baseline data that they're trying to collect is absolutely critical. You can't manage fishing if you don't know how many fish are in the water.
It's in a perfect shape, don't worry. Photo, picture, camera. Okay. Ready? Ya, adelante mío. Cógelo por la paleta que ya tú. 1, 2, 3.
Of course, nobody expects Cuba to be transformed overnight. But I believe that American engagement through our embassy, our businesses, and most of all through our people is the best way to advance our interests.
As the United States and Cuba prepare to normalize relations, there's concern in both countries about how the Gardens of the Queen will fare against a flood of tourism and business.
So many countries are eager to invest in Cuba, to trade with Cuba, to develop, golf courses, marinas, hotels. All of that is fantastic for the Cuban economy. It's good for the Cuban people. It's a challenge to the Cuban environment.
And many Americans will come when the blockade, or what you call embargo, ends, and the footprint on nature could be very high. And if that happens in large numbers, that can be devastating for this area, because you see the coral, the Earthworm coral cannot stand a kick with your fin. They break.
Dr. P.
Refresher. Where is Jardines de la Reina located? Jardines de la Reina is a group of islands located off the southern coast of Cuba in the Caribbean Sea. Now, what is biodiversity? All the different kinds of life you'll find in one area, the variety of animals, plants, fungi, and even microorganisms like bacteria that make up our natural world. Cuban reef diversity. Cuba is known for its rich marine biodiversity, including its diverse coral reef ecosystems. The Cuban archipelago is surrounded by extensive coral reefs, particularly in the Caribbean Sea. These reefs support a wide variety of marine life and play a crucial role in the overall health of the marine ecosystem. 4 types of Cuban reef diversity are coral species. Jardines de la Reina is home to various coral species, including hard corals such as elkhorn and staghorn. These corals provide habitat for many marine species. Fish diversity. The area is home to a variety of fish species, including sharks, groupers, and snappers, and is known for its thriving fish populations, providing a sanctuary for many different types of fish. Shark paradise. The archipelago has become a focal point for shark conservation efforts due to significant populations of Caribbean reef sharks, nurse sharks, and lemon sharks, leading to its reputation as a shark paradise. Conservation status. Jardines de la Reina was declared a marine protected area in 1996, providing high-level protection to its ecosystem. This designation helps preserve the biodiversity of the region and maintain the health of coral reefs. Refresher. What is the most popular animal living at Jardines de la Reina? That would be the Caribbean reef shark. It is one of the most popular animals residing in Jardines de la Reina. This species is commonly found in the water surrounding the archipelago. Divers in Jardines de la Reina frequently encounter Caribbean reef sharks. Where can you find biodiversity? Biodiversity can be found in various habitats and ecosystems across the planet, including rainforests, coral reefs, grasslands, wetlands, deserts, mountains, and even urban areas. Essentially, anywhere there is life, there is biodiversity. Here is a video showing biodiversity in the Cuban coral reefs.
Enormous coral structures, the result of thousands of years of patient calcareous construction, constitute the reefs which fill the coasts of Cuba with life. It is not a sea rich in nutrients, but protected by the corals, life multiplies in an explosion of biodiversity. The coral reef is composed of millions of tiny filtering polyps capable of turning the solar energy and the scarce nutrients in the water into organic material available for other organisms in the coral community. Starting with them, the chain becomes increasingly complex, and thousands of different life forms develop, from the fragile invertebrates to the most highly evolved complex fish. The tiny coral polyps join forces with the microscopic photosynthetic algae, which enable them to generate their external skeletons of calcium carbonate. When the polyps die, their skeletons remain, and on them settle millions of new polyps, creating layer upon layer, and so over countless generations, the coral reef is slowly constructed. In this calcareous world, each one occupies its own particular niche, and its role affects the rest of the community. It is not easy to find food in the world of the reef, and the only way to survive is to specialize. For these little wrasses picking about the skin of a moray eel, the solution meant an obvious risk, but they found their place by becoming cleaners of other fish. Despite their small size, the wrasses do not fear any of the fish in the reef. They all need them to remove the pesky parasites and impurities from their skin. so the different cleaner races have permission to approach and touch the bodies of all of them, even the most ferocious-looking ones like this green moray.
Now we're going to play a trivia game. Hey there, can you help me identify this gorgeous and vibrant coral that I came across in Jardines de la Reina? That's right, this is elkhorn coral. Oh, you're curious about Jardines de la Reina? Well, let me tell you, that place has been protected like a precious gem since, let me think. Let's just say it's been a long time. That's right, Jardines de la Reina has been well protected since 1996. Did you know that Jardines de la Reina is where the party's at if you're a sea creature? There are over 10 times more blank and blank than anywhere else, all thanks to a wild 2-decade-long of blank and blank. That's right. The answer is Jardines de la Reina is home to over 10 times more fish and sharks due to over 20 years of protecting the waters. Hey there, so I have a fun fact for you. Did you know that there are certain creatures in the reef that are allowed to be commercially fished? Do you have any idea which ones there are? Let's see if we can figure it out together. That's right, the correct answer is spiny lobster. Did you know that the blank blank are one of the most critically endangered species on the planet? But don't worry, you can spot them living their best life in the beautiful Jardines de la Reina. The correct answer is Goliath grouper.